This all comes down to organisation and just adherence in general. It comes down to, you know, making sure your actions reflect your wants. If you're not doing the necessary actions every single day to make that reality, then, you know, there's no one else to blame but yourself. So your recovery capabilities, your ability to recover from your training is going to be, you know, the primary indicator as to how much volume you can do in your sessions and how much muscle you can build long term. Here's the thing, you can't really compare your recovery capabilities to someone else. You know, you're both different people, and you really can't compare your recovery capabilities to, you know, who you was 3 months ago, because you might have been doing something completely different 3 months ago in terms of, you know, the amount of activity you was doing, or stress levels, all of that type of shit. Okay, so your recovery capabilities they're gonna fluctuate. The amount of work you're gonna be able to do is gonna fluctuate depending on your situation. So number one, we'll just go through the most basic one that everyone knows, sleep. Okay, there are countless of people who dedicate their lives to, you know, researching the very depth of sleep and how it affects us. But sleep is super important if you don't already know. You know, if you do night shift, for example, you know how much, you know, that can fucking just jeopardize and destroy your ability to train and recover. So make sure you're getting your sleep at least 7 to 8 hours. That's something you pretty much can control. If you can't get that much sleep, then, you know, try to do some very scheduled naps throughout the day. But pretty much the more sleep you get, the bigger, the stronger, the leaner you're gonna get. It's pretty much that simple. That's all it really is, you know. There's no need to overcomplicate it. So number one, sleep is the main thing. Well, it's one of the 3 variables that you need to make sure you're controlling, you know, to maximize your ability to recover. Number 2, I feel like this one is a very important one, and one that a lot of people don't really, they look over, you know. And if you're watching this right now, if you're serious about building muscle, if you're serious about, you know, bodybuilding, if you're serious about maybe even making this a career, you know, then a big variable that could, you know, contribute to your ability to recover is going to be your circle, the people you surround yourself with. Yeah, 100%. You've got to make sure that you're auditing your circle based on the amount of stress that certain people bring into your life. It's very important, and something that's very, you know, underlooked on. For example, yeah, if your girlfriend is a pain in the ass, then she's no longer your girlfriend. It's that simple. You know, if you've got friends, you know, they don't really care. They don't understand what you're doing in terms of training. They're always telling you to go out on a Friday. You know, they come over, they fucking order Uber Eats and all this shit. I'm not saying you've got to completely remove these people out of your life, but you've got to be very wary of who's in your life and the value they're bringing, especially if you're very serious about bodybuilding. I know a lot of you guys are living at home with your parents and stuff, so, you know, you don't really have that freedom, to be fair. Like, you know, there's a lot of people who, you know, their parents are very supportive, their family is very supportive of what they're doing in terms of bodybuilding and stuff, and that's awesome, you know. But there's a lot of, you know, unfortunate people like myself, I was there as well, who, you know, who don't really have that support from their family. You know, you see what they're doing as just a waste of time. You know, they might even take offense to it. Family can make this process very stressful. They might even force you to eat at times where you don't want to eat, you know, going to like family functions and stuff. You know, you don't want to be so, you know, you have a goal, you know, you have your meal plan, and they don't care. They don't care about that. They see it as silly. They'll make you feel guilty as to why you're doing what you're doing, and there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? But it's hard because you live there, so that's a very sticky one. You know, I dealt with this all the time, so, you know, I just wasn't willing to endure that kind of stress, especially for where I want to go as well. I'm fucking serious about this, you know. So all I done was, you know, I just stopped associating with these people. Like I said, you know, I just wasn't willing to endure that type of stress, because stress is super important. It can really fuck everything up, man, in terms of training and everything. If you're stressed, all types of stuff could happen, you know. Inflammation, you know, you're thinking about stuff, you know, digestion, you know, the gut, there's a lot of shit that goes with stress, mate. And honestly, if you're trying to bodybuild and you're stressed out all the time, then it is going to impair your ability to build muscle long term. So make sure you pattern that, make sure you audit your circle, make sure you're in control of the people that enter and come out of your life if you're serious about this. If you're not serious about this, then it doesn't really matter. But number 2 is stress. Now number 3, you know, it's not really one thing, but it's just little stuff that you guys need to make sure you're controlling, and you can. You know, it's just hydration, making sure you're drinking a certain amount of water a day. You know, a lot of people miss out on this. It's just simple shit, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Like, following your diet. If you can't adhere to your diet, then your recovery capabilities are going to be massively negatively impacted. You know, if you're not eating, if you're missing meals, if you're under eating, you know, if you're swapping, you know, calorie, nutritious, dense food in your diet for, you know, shittier, for like shit options, then it's gonna impact your ability to grow muscle long term. You're gonna feed it in the gym as well. If you undereat, if your body is not in a, you know, consistent surplus, then it has no reason to, you know, want to build that tissue. So you've got to make sure you're doing the little things, you know, making sure you're having your health supplements as well. This all comes down to organization and just adherence in general. It comes down to how bad you want it. It comes down to, you know, making sure your actions reflect your wants. You know, you can talk all about this big game about you want to be a bodybuilder and all this shit, but if you're not doing the necessary actions every single day to make that reality, then, you know, there's no one else to blame but yourself. That comes down to being organized. Like I said, you know, that comes down to, you know, being proactive, being ahead, making sure your meals are prepped. You know, if you know you've got food that's missing in the fridge, you know, you buy the food in advance. If you know your protein, your whey protein is going to run out in like the next 2 days, you order some protein. Do you know what I mean? Don't wait for shit to run out. Still things like that, because no one else is going to do it for you. Your mum's not going to buy your whey protein. If she does, then that's nice. But again, organization and just being able to adhere to the plan. And you've got to do this for, you know, a couple of years. It's not going to happen overnight. But that's pretty much it, man. Your ability to recover is so important. If you're not recovering, you're not growing. It doesn't matter how much training you're doing. So those are the 3 things you got to make sure you can control. If you control all of those things, then you have a good chance. You have a good chance of, you know, building a great physique long term. Okay, so sleep, your circle, and just the little things like water, sticking to your diet, and all of that shit. Okay, but here's the thing. You know, you may do all of those 3 things to a T. You're meticulous with all of that, and there's going to be that one guy, you know, who doesn't follow a training program. You know, doesn't really follow their diet plan, you know, eats whatever they want, doesn't train, you know, optimally, and they're still going to make more progress than you. They're still going to progress faster than you. They're going to look better than you, and that's just how it is. That's just how this game is. But it's not for you to worry about that person. It's for you to worry about yourself. It's for you to control what you can control. And that's the daily habits, the discipline that is needed to see yourself become the person and the bodybuilder you know you can be. So that is it for this video, guys. If you did like the video, then please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There's gonna be some new videos coming out soon, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.